Okay, hello. Hi, my name is Ethan Peters, and my major is AYA Chemistry and Earth Science.
I'm Natalie Miller, and my major is AYA Life Science and Earth Science.
And today we're going to talk with you about our weather station practicum experience.
So we worked on our practicum for the Wood County Park District, which is the park district that manages the areas around Bowling Green. They have 19 parks and preserves, and they also run many educational and experiences to get people in the community involved with the Parks District and with the parks in general. We conducted our practicum at J.C. Ruthinger Memorial Preserve, which is the home of the Park District Stewardship Department and also a native plant nursery. Which I was surprised we even have native plants in Ohio. But.
Okay, we commuted to Ruthinger most Wednesdays in September and October from 10:30 a.m. to 1 p.m. Most of our time spent there was spent programming the weather station, testing it, determining a location, and then installing it. In addition, we spent many hours doing outside independent research.
So we were tasked with installing a personal weather station at Ruthinger and uplinking it to a service called Weather Underground. So Weather Underground takes data from personal weather stations and compares it to data from professional weather stations of the area. And the good thing about Weather Underground for the Stewardship Department was you can access the data from your personal weather station from their website or their app, no matter where you are. So the department can keep tabs on the sort of events that happen at Ruthinger, like rain events. Do they need to go water the plants? Is it too hot, too cold? So, and we reported to Zeb Albert, who is the restoration specialist.
Okay, data recorded at our weather station is uploaded to Weather Underground every 12 seconds. And is available in tables and graphs that look like this. For our results project, we analyzed data from our station on the week of October 31st, which is the top graph, the top two graphs. The top one is the red line is temperature and green is dew point. Then the bottom graph is wind speed and wind gust. And we compared the data to neighboring weather stations, including this one, the bottom two graphs, which was a station in Maumee, Ohio. Overall, when comparing our data to neighboring stations, we found that it was very similar and comparable. In fact, our station was Gold Star certified by Weather Underground for its accuracy. The only discrepancy in this case is the data recorded at the Maumee station. The temperatures were consistently 1 to 2 degrees warmer than what was recorded at our station. Also, their wind speeds were recorded. The speeds were significantly slower than at our station. This indicates that the Maumee station is probably in a bad location, possibly obstructed by a building.
So one of the major things Ethan and I had to do was figure out a location for the weather station on the property where it would be unobstructed and it would meet all the requirements for weather stations that Weather Underground sets. So we're passing around a little activity that's kind of like a plan of the property at Ruthinger. And on the next slide, we will show the key and location requirements. But this is, we're going to ask you to pick a site for the weather station that meets the requirements.
There's the picture.
Center of the road. It's not rated to get hit by a car. It's not a good
Okay, on the left we have a map key that has the corresponding heights for all of the objects and locations on the map. And on the right, we have specific requirements that have to be met when determining your location to ensure the accuracy of the data recorded at your station and to make sure it's within range of the indoor console indicated by the black dot, which the station connects to wirelessly and then uploads to the internet. So, begin.
Oh yeah, we've got
So it does have to be.
I didn't clarify the parking lot, sorry. This is the parking lot.
Those parking lots on the road, so it's right away from the road, so it's gotta be
Okay, wait, go back. Oh, you're not done? Okay.
One last data.
Okay, no, you're fine. Joking? So this is a blank upload of the piece of paper you have in front of you, and is anyone willing to maybe come up and like, show us where they put their weather station or explain to us what it's near?
I'll do it.
Go for it.
I'm not gonna go up.
It's fine.
Sydney and I talked to me and said it should probably be like somewhere by the flower beds, like in between the two fours. Like somewhere in there, yeah.
It's good. Anybody else? I think that was our original idea.
It was.
Was to put it between the flower beds.
There are many answers.
Yeah, there are many answers, but this is just where Ethan, Zeb, and I decided to put our weather station because it was kind of out of the way of the people working, because there's a lot of maintenance that goes on with the flower beds and they have to take inventory of all the seeds that each of the plants produces. But, I mean, it's not a bad spot in between the flower beds. That's not a wrong answer.
Okay. Okay, from this experience, I learned a lot about the Wood County Park District's programs and services. For example, their Fall Folklore Festival. It was a lot of fun. Natalie and I actually helped paint ghosts for that festival. And I also learned a lot about their role as stewards of our environment. As Natalie mentioned, at Ruthinger, they have a quail bird sanctuary and a native plant nursery. I also learned a lot about the functionality and usefulness of Weather Underground. I learned important critical thinking skills, which were really useful when picking out a cost-effective station to buy and when determining a location. And I also learned the importance of collaboration. Natalie and I have very different and busy schedules, so sometimes it was tough coordinating commuting together to Ruthinger and doing outside work.
One of the big things I learned was the importance of communication during the research and planning process. There were a few weeks Ethan and I I could not go to Ruthinger simply because the parts we needed were not in. So it ended up that Ethan, Zeb, and I had agreed on the weather station we wanted, the ambient weather 1001, but we never really solidified that via email. So when we met on that Wednesday, we were all like, oh, this one works. And then we had to put in the order, and if we would have emailed about it, we might have gotten the order in sooner. And then unique problem-solving skills that utilize technology. So the way Ethan and I figured out the max distance from the station to the display console inside was I stood inside with the console, and Ethan took the actual weather station out onto the property and spun the anemometer so I could look at the wind speed, and every time the wind speed updated, I hollered at him to show that the distance was still okay. And then I learned how to mix concrete. So that was something I didn't think I'd need, but when we were mounting the station, we needed to ensure that it would be supported because it does have to be 33 feet in the air to get those wind speed measurements, and the wind can kick up in BG, so it needs to be supported. And the last thing is equitable distribution of labor. So I wasn't real keen on digging the post hole, so I got smaller rocks that needed to go with the concrete, while Ethan and Zeb dug.
It was actually really cool. They had this thing that you spun and then it dug a hole in the ground. It was pretty neat. Okay, concerning applications in science and math education, I would integrate an agency like the Wood County Park District into my lesson plans, perhaps by visiting a nature preserve or a metro park and designing a lesson plan to complement that visit. I would also maybe engage with a nature preservation specialist or a botanist and engage with them for professional development or have them engage with my students. I would also promote group work and collaboration. And I would also really encourage my students to explore the benefits of scientific inquiry and research in our community. Our data is publicly accessible 24/7, and it's being used to help create a more accurate model of weather in Northwest Ohio. So I think that's pretty useful and cool.
Big thing I got kind of relates to that potential for citizen science projects involving weather. So the good thing about installing a personal weather station is it's not that difficult, and it was quite easy to uplink to Weather Underground, and working with students to get that data available and see if their work can be used to understand weather patterns would be very selling of, you know, science works in the real world. These are things that everybody uses. And then the other thing is project-based learning, where students are given a goal and then set free to explore. So that's kind of what happened to Ethan and I. Zeb said, I want a weather station. I need the weather station to measure X, Y, and Z. So I think it was humidity, rainfall, temperature. And we went from there. We did our own independent research. We researched stations, mounting, distances, what we needed. And there's a great way to kind of incorporate that freedom into a classroom.
Are there any questions?
This is Zeb with the weather station, this is the weather station, and then those were lights that they used at the folklore festival that they put candles inside, and just found this quote confusing.
Yeah, we don't know who did this, but I thought having this up here would be a question in itself. Yeah, these were at their festival. Thank you.